I just went on a date with a guy that tried to rob me. Over the course of the next few months we started developing strong feelings for each other. However, in January I got a phone call at 2:30 in the morning from him. He was in jail. He and 2 of his friends were arrested for public intoxication and possession of substances. He wanted me to bail him out and I said no, I couldn't. This is when things fell apart. Before then, he and I had been incredibly close. We spent Christmas together. He came over, we cooked and watched movies. We made love. But I noticed I started doing things I didn't normally do. He would come over in the middle of the night, visibly panicked, and ask if he could stay with me. I let him, no questions asked. I stopped asking questions because I wanted to believe that he was good and everything was fine. He started asking me that if others asked about him if I would lie and say I didn't know him. This scared me, but I assumed it was about work stuff. I wanted it to be his work stuff. He was released from jail about a week later. He didn't talk to me. I called his apartment and nothing. I came home from work one day and a woman was waiting outside my door. She appeared disheveled. She was wearing a tank top and flip-flops in mid-January in the Northeast. When I tried to key into my apartment, she started verbally attacking me. She told me to stay away from him. Like she owned him. She told me that she knew what I did to him. And that I would get what's coming. She left and I was scared out of my mind. Before calling the police, I decided to call his apartment one last time. He answered. I told him about the woman. He apologized and said that he was seeing her. He didn't intend for her to come over and interfere. But that led me to another question: how did she know where I live? And how many others had he told where I lived? He hesitated before answering and just said he was sorry. I immediately packed an overnight bag, grabbed my most valuable items and went to stay in a hotel because I no longer felt safe, because of him. I came back to my apartment the next day. Everything was fine. He came over to apologize. I told him to get out and I started crying. He tried to hug me but I remember picking up a piece of wood to protect myself. I demanded to know what he was doing. He told me he was selling substances. He told me that he had to do it because he knew people that would hurt him. I told him to get out and that I never want to see him again. He got angry, threatened to come back with his friends. I was racked with guilt for trusting him. He apologized again and said he was sorry. I was questioning everything about him. I pushed him out and locked the door. The teaching program I'm a part of rotates teachers in and out of schools across the country. Last year I put in a request to move across the country to be closer to home. 2 weeks after this encounter with him, I found out that my request was accepted and I was set to leave in March. My apartment was broken into and vandalized in early February. At night, he would come and knock on my door. I would call the police but he would always leave before they got there. His guys started harassing me. Nothing was ever stolen, just broken. They broke a glass bottle my dad made for me when I was 6. He knew how much that meant to me. It was shattered. The week before I left, I saw him outside my building. I called the police. He was walking over to me, and I remember having this fiery rage in me. It was this impassioned, red, angry heat that washed over me and I took my keys and I just started hitting him. I ended up connecting with his eye socket. When the police questioned him, they realized he was the one that was harassing me. He was wanted for a myriad of other charges. After he fell down, I started kicking him. I moved out a week later. I have not heard of him since.